I think that's where it is. Isn't this John's right here? Yeah. Thank you. Welcome and good afternoon. We're so glad you joined us today. Today is Wednesday, July 22nd, 2026, and we are here in our conference room in the Commissioner's office on the second floor of the Larimer County Administrative Services Building. I welcome you today. I'm Larimer County Commissioner Jody Shad McNally, Chair of the Board of County Commissioners. So glad you're joining us. We have a really exciting work session ahead of us. I'm joined at the conference table by Commissioner Stevens, welcome, Commissioner Kafalis, our County Manager Lorenda Volker, and I'm just going to introduce one staff member because we have lots of amazing directors and important people in the room, and I'm going to mess up probably all their fancy titles. So I'm going to just introduce what I call our PBS director, Josh Fudge, and PBS stands for Performance Strategy, Budget and Strategy. Indeed. And sometimes I call him kind of the big bird of PBS, all that. But I just really thrilled to have this work session today. Today, the work session is just on our strategic plan updates. Our staff and our partners have been working extremely hard and doing great work. And this is a quarterly update for this progress. And so I'm going to turn this over to you, Josh. Appreciate the information that we received, and take it away.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Once again, my name is Josh Fudge, the Director of Performance, Budget, and Strategy for Larimer County. I get to kind of shepherd this plan forward and work with a lot of great people. And so I want to start, before I forget, as I usually do, to thank everyone who's worked on a sub-objective team, led a sub-objective team, and our goal leaders for all the work that they've done. I'm really just kind of reporting on this. So as usual, we are reversing the order from last time so that Goal 4 gets to go first, County Operations, then Goal 3, Natural and Built Environment, Goal 2, which is Quality of Life, Goal 1, which is Resilient, Equitable, and Engaged Community, and then finally Discussion and Next Steps. We've kind of reached the point in the plan where many of our sub-objectives have actually been complete and operationalized, so this may be a relatively brief presentation, but we'll just describe some of the work that's been done even for those completed items. So the first objective under Goal 4, it was to optimize county processes and systems. Sub-objective 1A was to make sure that the county begins using artificial intelligence in a ethical and effective way. And so this sub-objective is done. We have implemented an AI tool through Google, provided a policy for county employees to use this, started to provide training. And so while there will always be improvements to our use of AI, this is now complete and operational. Second was strengthening customer relationships between support services departments and their customers. A lot of work was done in this to really survey the users, find out what some of the roadblocks or things were to making these relationships as effective as possible. And so that sub-objective is also complete. Sub-objective 1C, which is around security. This team reviewed all of our policies and procedures related to security. They've provided feedback on the latest policy, which is the access control policy and procedure as that project pushes forward. And so really this team is now done. It could possibly be reconstituted if there are other major issues security related that pop up, but we don't foresee any in the near term. Which brings us to the one remaining sub-objective for this objective, which is developing community indicators and key performance measures. Julie Elser, who is our data program manager in PBS, is here today to do a demo of the web page for one of the themes, which is environmental stewardship. And next, they're working on built environment and public safety categories and themes. So I am going to kind of run the demo here, and Julie can walk us through it. So would you like me to show the picture first or the website?
The picture first, please. So thank you. I'm going to get started with first just reminding everyone of a little bit of a background of why we're making this change of how we used to do our performance measures to changing over to this data story format.
There we go.
So if you'll recall how we used to do performance measures, you remember we had those dashboards with graphs on the dashboards. They didn't have any context with them. So if somebody's looking at those dashboards and they're not listening to the work session where they were presented, they're sort of left to themselves to interpret what those graphs mean. So we wanted to give the departments an opportunity to provide a little bit of context and actually give a little bit of writing with each metric. The other thing we wanted to change, as you can see, we have themes on the screen here. We wanted to go with themes as opposed to our standard service area breakdown, which organizing them by service area probably makes sense to us internally, but to the public, it might not make a lot of sense. They're not familiar with our org chart, most likely. So we wanted to use themes and gather the metrics together based on how they relate to each other, regardless of what service area they're in. And finally, one of our goals with these is to make something that is useful year-round, outside of just the presentation to in a work session, something that hopefully these departments can use in their communications. Maybe they'll link them on their public-facing webpage. I've been chatting with Michelle Bird, our Public Affairs Director, a little bit about how we might encourage people to use these so that they're useful outside of the once-a-year work session. So our team has been meeting with departments and finalizing their metrics, getting their stories going. We have 4 departments who will be contributing metrics for the first time, which has been fun to work with them on getting their metrics together for the first time. And so with that, I'd like to just walk through our themes, what the data stories within the themes are, and then just really quickly some examples of departments that might contribute metrics to those data stories to give you an idea of what they're about. So we have 4 themes, which is going to translate to 4 work sessions. This year, unfortunately, they'll be sort of clustered towards the end of the year because we're just getting this finished. Hopefully in the future, we'll spread them out over the year. The first theme is caring for our spaces with the built environment data story. This is going to include road and bridge, engineering, facilities, the environmental stewardship data story, which is the one that is complete and I'll be showing you in a few minutes. That's going to include metrics from like natural resources, solid waste. Supporting our neighbors has 2 data stories. Building a strong community is going to be metrics from the Office of Housing Stability, which is one of our first-time departments. Economic and Workforce Development, Behavioral Services, Community Services and Resources. This one was a little bit harder to define. We limited it down to metrics and from departments where they're interacting with the public in more of a customer service capacity so if you can think of like when people come to register their vehicle or they're going to community development for a building permit, things like that fall into that category. Community safety ended up being very similar to our public safety service area. Apparently that service area already has a pretty cohesive theme to it. One change will be in the emergency response and community preparedness data story. We'll have some metrics from health. The alternative pathways and community restoration data story may contain some metrics from human resources. She hasn't quite decided that yet. How the county works will contain the community connections data story. This is about volunteers. So we have natural resources and their volunteers there. Our public affairs department has metrics for the first time, and the ranch will probably go there too. Financial stewardship will include metrics from our budget office for the first time, our treasurer's office, and finance. Behind the scenes is very similar to our support services service area. So this is the departments that don't engage with the public a lot, but we need them in order to operate, so like IT, HR, those kinds of departments. So before I move on and demo a data story, any questions about these themes or the topics of the data stories?
Thank you for doing that so quickly and so thoroughly. Colleagues, do you have any questions? Commissioner Stevens?
Yeah, I like the idea of having this presented thematically because I think that is, you're right, it's exactly how the public wants to see that information. They don't know what department does what necessarily. So I think this seems really smart. You said there were 4 departments that had, that were doing metrics for the first time, and one of them was housing stability, and one of them was?
Public affairs.
Public affairs, okay.
Budget, and sustainability and climate.
Okay. And then does everything fit under these four? Because like we've talked about some of the departments, but are there going to be more themes that are rolled out, or we will fit every department will fit under one of these?
Every department will fit under one of these.
Okay, so like, for example, like human services, would that be under supporting neighbors, or would that be under community safety?
They might be split between building a strong community and the alternative pathways and community restoration data stories.
Okay,
Probably, I think she wants to split them between the two.
gotcha, okay. So some of that'll be rolled out later of what other departments will be kind of housed under these. Just curious, because, we're clearly not, everyone is seen in these slides right now. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Fallis?
Yes, thank you. First of all, well done. This looks pretty darn fantastic. So, thank you very much for the great work, great deliverables. One question I have, maybe there are two embedded. One is, will this replace, the way we would do performance metrics before was mostly internal, for our sake. And this looks very much sort of the opposite or complementary in terms of focusing on community facing and what's relevant to the community, more relevant perhaps. Could you speak to that, Julie? And also, just curious, the pictures are great, but I'm wondering if there was any methodology behind choosing these pictures, or they just seem like nice pictures to you, or that sort of thing.
There is some reasoning behind them. So, right, caring for our spaces as a road and a forest, right?
Okay.
Right. The how the county works has a picture from natural resources of volunteers, trail building. So these pictures don't have to be final, but they made sense to me, I guess.
I suppose one consideration might be, unless it's a lot of work, is every few months maybe changing the pictures out a bit. I think they're all great. I just want to make sure that we're considering pictures that, maybe more people could relate to. Although I'm glad we have people on the trail and certainly folks helping with natural resources. But just a thought, kind of rotate them out a little bit
Yeah, that makes
every
sense.
couple of months or so.
Mhm.
But then I wonder, the other part of my question about community facing versus internal.
Yes. So we are kind of moving more towards public-facing metrics.
Interesting.
We now have in our service proposals an option where people can include data to support their service proposal. So we feel like these don't need to be so budget-focused. There's another avenue for people to give that information. And if people want to include metrics that relate to the budget, that's fine. But we are going more towards wanting these to be useful for the public.
Thank you. Thanks, Madam Chair.
There we go. Brighter light. Actually, for me, and maybe it just needs to show, but I like the pictures because it showing how the community connections, bringing the volunteers there behind the scenes. It shows kind of that proactive work that we're doing, supporting our neighbors. It's nice to see the youth and the older adults. And then, I think community safety shows the Justice Center, and I think that's to remind people that we're kind of responsible for that building. I think it's important. The coloring also is kind of with our county colors and all of that. When we talk about the themes and having these are the 4 quarterly baby updates, is there going to be, or is that the order they might go in, or is there an order where folks want to be in? Is there, what does that look like for, who goes first for the next round? That makes, if I'm being clear, I'm trying to be clear.
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
understand. We haven't gotten to that point yet of deciding who will go first next year. This year, they're going to go kind of in the order that they're ready. But next year, I'll be discussing with some of the people in these who would like to go first, who's ready. Some might have metrics that aren't ready until later, farther into the year, so that could help determine that. But yeah, there's no order defined yet.
So you put your light on, so go ahead, but before I ask my next question.
Thank you. I think one of the things you'll see is that only one of these dashboards is built out because that's the one that was ready to go. They'll come over time. And I hope, because we divide ourselves into service areas and departments and divisions within those, that may not necessarily reflect directly up here because there may be parts of different departments and service areas that fit better under one of these. So don't think that this will match our org chart exactly. It really is more how the community consumes our services and thinks about us in that way, what makes sense to them. It's less about how our budget's structured or those kind of things. And I think the dashboard that you'll see is really impressive. It's great work, and I think it'll inform the community a lot about the kind of work we do that often goes unseen by the bulk of the people. And so, again, just don't think of these as directly aligned to how we're structured, more aligned in how the community receives us.
Wonderful. We did get a chance to preview the dashboard and all that. I was very impressed. And so, I think it is important that we think about who the audience is. But also, not our community, but also I'm wondering how our partners, like municipal partners or nonprofit or state partners, how do you think they'll look at this website and grain information? Is that also been a thought process of how our partners will kind of access information on the dashboard too?
That's not something that we've talked about explicitly, but when I have people providing their text and their story, they're welcome to link to other information. So if they have a report that's relevant or even just their website, places where people can get more information, they're welcome to do that. So if that's something where they want to convey a connection to an external partner, they can do it that way.
Wonderful. The reason for my question, and I think Josh and Lorena, you remember when we started that first session with the community leaders, we invited about 200 people. I want to take us back to that plan got started, and we had over 100 people show up, and we met at the ranch. And I know it was very clear to me, I think to many of us, but for me, that people that were talking about things were things that we were already doing. And so we talked, and I know this became kind of a party, how are we going to tell our story, and how are we going to show what we're already doing? And so I think, is this kind of part of that first step, and is this kind of, I'm thinking this is part of what we first originally, is that a correct assumption?
It can be used in the formation of the next plan and be shared with those partners. You're right that we want to use this, and also in goal one, objective one is telling the story of what we've done in this plan and prior plans. And so my goal when we start to create the 2029 version of the strategic plan is to have all this done, certainly, and then share it with as many people as possible in the community, literally, so that when we do start to gather feedback from the community, they've seen this product, they've seen the product that Michelle Bird's team is working on, and they'll have a greater awareness. And there's other, it'll also include information about other things that we're doing, right, that aren't necessarily in the strategic plan, like natural resources master plan or a water master plan. So really getting this to them a good deal of time ahead is one of the goals, and we'll be using this product for that too. So, yes.
I appreciate that. I think I even said that, and if we're not telling our story, someone's telling it for us, and we may not like how they tell that story. So I was just really surprised how many folks said that, because that was leaders, municipal leaders and nonprofit leaders, and a lot of them didn't know all the things we were doing. And of course, they can't know all the things. There's a lot happening. The county does a lot of great things for our community, and you all work so hard. So I'm glad to hear that. This is exciting work. So I don't think there's any questions. Let's move on. Thank you. And Julie, great work so far. We're really impressed.
Thank you. Yeah, so just
Let's go
quickly, I'll
ahead.
show the finished data story. It sounds like you guys have had a chance to take a look at this. But this is what it'll look like. Each data story has its own webpage. They're organized by department. Each department gets a section, but hopefully they flow in a way that makes sense. It's not loading, but we'll just pretend it did. So you can see each department can write a little introduction. Uh-oh. Well, those have a graph on them. So the first tab there does have a graph, and it will show the most recent metric. The second tab, if you want to click the trend there, that also probably won't load. Yeah, so that's where the graph would be. That's the 5 years of data, and then finally the info tab has the information that people can write about each metric. So, yeah, sorry, there's technical difficulties happening. It's sometimes this tool can do that. So, any questions about the data story?
Commissioner Foss, you have any questions about the data story? Commissioner Stevens? No, I don't. The only question I have, as we move forward, just like, after the pandemic and COVID, and even with behavioral health, with the sales tax and then building open, landscape change, our conditions change, our community changes. I'm assuming that as this changes, if we need to add more things, that this is kind of a work in progress for this site. Am I making an okay assumption there?
Yes, these can always change, and it doesn't have to be a once-a-year thing. People can provide updates throughout the year if they want to add things or if they want to change their metric. We can always make changes.
Fantastic, thank you.
One moment while I restart PowerPoint to bring the presentation back up. Thank you, Julie. Great work.
Yeah, this is really a great example of how data can be used to tell a story while you're pulling up the presentation. Thoughtful descriptions, you'll notice there were words to describe each section. Those were really thoughtful about how we do this work and what our outcomes, what our goals are, what is our philosophy around this. They aren't just words that were plucked from something else. But Julie spent a lot of time working with departments and services to be able to really accurately tell the story of the county in just a few words. So I think this is a great start. And I think there are other departments and areas lined up that want to be next to have their tile filled in. And it will take some time to get all of that done. So great work, Julie. Thank you.
So the remainder of Goal 4 for county operations is pretty much complete. The sub-objectives included optimizing grant opportunities, which was completed when we engaged 2 firms to help us manage and understand the opportunities that are available, create a roadmap for the opportunities we wanted to go for, and then help us with those grant submissions. And that's been successful in a few cases already, including a rather large grant that Solid Waste received earlier, I think at the end of last year or earlier this year. Co-location with community partners. This is also complete and operationalized. They have an inventory of spaces that are available both for the county to use and for community partners to use. And now there's a process if they want to use each other's space and things like that. Just continuing on, Objective 2, updating the facilities master plan. This one was done basically in the first year. That sub-objective is complete. And then Objective 3, supporting and developing leadership, really trying to enhance and expand our reach for job applicants and things of that nature, was completed, I think, in the middle of last year. Any questions about the remainder of Goal 4? All right. So for Goal 3, which is the natural and built environment, the first objective is around addressing current and future transportation needs. The first sub-objective was around the ballot initiative from last fall relating to a sustainable funding source for capital projects. That initiative did fail, and so the county is continuing to consider future options, but this particular piece of the sub-objective is no longer active. One remaining item is replacement of the road event status system. That has been submitted to the IT steering committee for ranking and is currently in the queue waiting for resources from IT to implement. And then the final objective, enhancing regional transportation, The county's ability to contribute to that was really related to that Transportation Initiative 1A. There has been discussion with municipal and state partners when possible, but for the purposes of this sub-objective is complete and operationalized. Objective 2 is developing a sustainable built environment. A lot of these objectives are related to our Climate Smart and Future Ready plan. Most of them are complete, including coordinating on air and water quality projects with regional partners, advancing electrification of buildings and transportation. This has been operationalized. There's continued support for and outreach for energy efficiency, communicating on a regional coordinating, a regional electric equipment rebate program. The food truck electrification program awareness continues, and so that will continue on. Moving on to sub-objective 2D, which is incentivizing regional water conservation. There's no real update since our last meeting. The water plan does need to be adopted to comply with some state rules. It is on the work plan for community development this year. I understand you all received an update on this on July 8th, and there's a minor comprehensive plan amendment that needs to be completed, hopefully by the end of September, as the state's deadline is December 31st. There's also implementation of drought planning, and code changes are underway for outdoor landscaping to improve water efficiency. The state has some new standards in place, and code amendments were made in December 2025 to comply with those. Any questions on that one?
Any questions? No? We're consistent with the state goal for 2E, the circular economy programs. And I know that we're on track with that. If that's on the website with the natural built environment, and we're talking about if that's something we say consistent with the state goal, is there going to be links or kind of a way for folks to go to that state link and kind of understand what that all is? And
For
the
2E?
circular, for the 2E and the consistent with the circular economy and those goals, they had goals and certain things we had to do. And I see
Okay.
someone in the audience, Heidi Pruis, is nodding her head.
So I'll ask Heidi Pruis to respond to that one.
Heidi, would
if
you
she's
mind
able.
coming up, please? I'm just curious because a lot of folks maybe still don't quite know that was a law passed 3 years ago. And I know we were held, especially at the National Association of Counties at that time, even PepsiCo and others were holding us up as an exemplar of a good policy as the state passed that. So I'm wondering how we can help folks understand it and understand kind of where we're coming alongside. Just curious.
Thank you for the question.
Yeah.
Heidi Pruis, Office of Sustainability and Climate. Yes, of course, we can link on the strategic plan dashboard. There's the ability to link right into the objectives. So as they're scanning what's been completed and what's not, we can provide links at that point. There's also a link there already to the Climate Smart Future Ready Circular Economy tab. That has quite a lot more information. So links to the existing state goals, as well as what are the programs that we're instituting to meet those. So they're hopefully all linked, but we'll be
Right.
sure to go back and check.
Yeah, and would you mind just, I know you're super busy right now, but could you send us that link as well? It'd be kind of cool to kind of put that on my favorites or something, so I can go back and kind of keep checking on that,
Absolutely.
because it is kind of exciting to see the progress, but yeah, thank you so much, I appreciate it. I hope, it wasn't kind of an out there question, but I thought, just in case people want to if you go here, but you're interested, then you can't find how to go there, and I'm just wondering how we just
A
pull them all
lot of
together.
go here, go there. It's a big web, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a very big web. Thank you very much. Commissioner Kofales, you have your hand raised.
Thank you. Just a clarification on that first bullet point. Does that mean 45% solid waste diversion goal set by 2026, that we would achieve that percentage of diversion by this year? If that is the case, I would like to point out that in a recent conversation with our solid waste director, indicating that we can anticipate by 2030 a 35 to 40% diversion goal. So I'm wondering, there seems to be
Thank you for the clarification. The goal was set in 2026 to match the state goals. So it
But-
shouldn't say by, it should have said maybe the goal was set in 2026.
and when would we achieve that 45%?
To what you just mentioned, it'll be
2030?
2030, yes. 2030, 2035,
Oh, okay.
I believe. I could go back and double check with you.
Just
but-
want to make sure we're all on the same page and
Yes.
perhaps clarify the language a little bit.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry, that typo is my fault.
Oh, there, no need to. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for the clarification. Any other questions on objective 2?
I don't see any right now. Thank you, Josh.
Sure. So objective 3 was related to developing a sustainable natural environment. There are a number of sub-objectives under that, and so Megan Flanagan in Natural Resources is the objective team leader for that, and kind of as this past year, she's going to be providing annual updates on these items because they, kind of take all summer and fall to progress. And basically after that, it'll kind of be monitoring and reporting on those metrics. And so it's likely when we meet on the plan next in January of 2027, this one will be considered complete and operationalized. Sorry.
I'm just checking the room, see if we have any comments. Doesn't look like it.
Okay. So for goal 2, quality of life, 2 sub-objectives, 1A and 1B, promoting health and well-being for our community. The Community Health Improvement Plan, the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment has completed their assessment of new chronic disease. Actually, I'm sorry. The County Health Department completed that. They reached out to over 400 members. There's another grant cycle starting up soon after the state approves the strategies for this work. And the County Health Improvement Plan focused on social prescribing, and so more details will come on that soon. Unfortunately, the objective team leader, Joe Buckley, could not be here to describe that, but she looks forward to providing an update on that at a future time. The Health District has completed their Red Feather Lakes area survey. They had sufficient responses. They held an open house to promote offerings, assess services, and adding new data systems to better support their clients. And then finally, UC Health, the monitoring of their efforts is ongoing by the Health Department and others, and so this is really complete and operationalized as well. Just one success story that both the goal leader, Emily Humphrey, and Joe Buckley wanted to point out is that based on the Health District's open house, which I believe was held a few months ago, Community Justice Alternatives is now referring their clients there for those services. That was a link that was missing in the past, and so they've seen great success of having those clients get services there. So any questions on that item?
Commissioners, any questions? No? Okay. Can you go back that slide? I had like the last,
Sure, sorry.
the monitoring of the Community Health Improvement Plan and on the Health District, all of these. Can you remind me who is doing the monitoring of this? Is it just the Health Department, or who else is monitoring the UC Health and the Health District and kind of keeping progress on those things? Is it the Health Department and Tom
Yes.
Gonzalez? Okay.
Yep.
I just want to clarify that. I didn't know if there's any other departments involved with that.
I don't believe so, and I know at the very least, the Health Department takes the lead on that.
Yeah, and because the other reason I was asking is behavioral health services, because that is part of the health improvement. I didn't know if they were also partnered in that and kind of helping monitoring that with some of the programs we have going on. I was curious about that.
Yeah. I can ask Joe for further information on that and send it to you. So,
Okay, I appreciate that.
Sure.
Thanks. I'm decided to give you some things to think about.
sounds good. Any other questions?
Doesn't look like it.
Finally, for 1C, developing the sequential intercept model, the planning committee held a report out, a webinar for all of the attendees plus other partners, attendees of the workshop that was held back when this all started. They're collecting they're seeking participants to help then implement the 3 action areas that were identified by the planning committee. Those action areas are, one is crisis systems, basically strengthening mobile crisis response. The second is cross-organizational collaboration, identifying organizations that are committed to cross-agency collaboration, getting rid of silos, increasing awareness of each other's expertise and service capabilities. And then finally, community systems and structures, really identifying areas such as transportation, housing, behavioral health services, and identifying those for clients and those who need these services. Any questions about that objective?
Don't see any, Josh, thank you.
All right. So objective 2 under goal 2, supporting an opportunity economy. The Power of the P card landing page has launched on the County B Board. There is educational training, a quiz, Nectar challenges, all uploaded into Absorb. We do actually need to pause and update that, the video and training with some new content, unfortunately, because of just some of the things that were in there really need to be kind of revised now that we have a little experience with it. This team is looking to create a vendor list for county employees to visit to, really promote the power of our P cards. That is also in the IT steering committee queue, awaiting IT resources for that. The purchasing analysis strategy will be reimagined. And then we've had preliminary discussions with other anchor institutions here in the community to scale this Power of the P card or this purchasing strategy across other entities. Any questions on 2A?
2A, I don't see defense. Can we expand a little bit on maybe you covered this, but can you expand a little bit on the purchasing analysis strategy to be reimagined?
Sure.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to, also I'm asking this for the public because I'm wondering for us and for the public, can you expand on that?
Yeah. So essentially that analysis strategy is a data-driven approach to gathering a baseline of current spending from county departments. Then the implementation of the Power of the P card training, as Josh discussed, and then post initiative, have we made a difference? So it's really digging deeper into how we analyze that.
And what do you think of the timeline on that? Just curious about that.
Yeah, great question. And again, for our guests online, Mark Johnston, Larimer County's Economic and Workforce Development.
I should have said, hey, can you introduce yourself? I
leader.
apologize.
No, please, that's me. So we've had Kelsey Bond, our project manager and project lead. She has taken new work with Innosphere Ventures as their workforce development manager. So we're thrilled for Kelsey. Little interruption, I'd say 3 to 6 months, as we also work with our county finance team on how to best do that.
Thank you. I appreciate you answering that.
bet.
And she does such a great job talking about the Power of the P card and all this work. And it's been, I think, it was interesting that this is another thing that other groups I was in a meeting of partners and they said, well, why doesn't the county do this? The county should be like, we already have been doing this for about a year now or so. And they're like, what? And so I was trying to quickly find, part of her presentation. So, because they were trying to say, this is something you should be doing. So I'm wondering how I think these were municipal partners or the state partner. And so I'm wondering how are we talking about it with other people, or is it just something it's really focused internally? I'm wondering about that.
Great question. Gives me a chance to provide a little context too. So about a year ago, we probably 12 to 18 months ago, wanted to establish a baseline within the Human and Economic Health Department. So we started small. We wanted to do proof of concept, make sure we walked the walk. So Those 6 departments here in Larimer County, Office of Housing, Behavioral Health, Human Services, Economic and Workforce Development, and Extension were all in that pilot. From there, as Josh had noted, we then launched countywide, and that was within the last 6 months. So talking about it, we're beginning to get out to other municipality anchor institutions who have power of spending. We're large institutions that can make a difference if we just change a handful of our habits to more local spending. So it's part of our communication strategy plan in our economic and workforce development's annual report. And it's something that I'm in conversation with Michelle Bird here at the county to try to expose that even broader.
I really appreciate that very much.
Yeah,
And
you
I
bet.
think we need to, I've forgotten it was just those departments, but I think it's still something to show that we've already been kind of maybe doing this. But again, once again, we're not always telling our story or tooting our horn. And you guys are doing incredible work. I want to make sure everyone knows how incredible the work is that you're doing. So thank you for that. Any other questions, colleagues? Okay. Onward.
So then, moving to sub-objective 2B, which is supporting the development of Northern Colorado's care workforce. Economic and Workforce Development is coordinating with the Department of Human Services and others on work requirements that will be mandated by HR 1 that will be going into effect here in a few months, I think. So they are designing a work-based learning model with our partners to aid in staffing while providing community experience, and hopefully perhaps they could scale internally, and I think Mark could explain more of that if needed. And then Economic and Workforce Development is coordinating with Human Services and NoCo Kids Thrives to determine where support could be provided as far as the workforce goes related to Initiative 1B, which was a sales tax to support childcare services that was passed last fall. And then also participating in the Northeast Region Tactical Workforce Plan required by HB 23-1196. The healthcare sector is one of the 3 industry partnership groups focused on the advancement of talent pipelines that EWD is participating in. So if you have any further questions about that objective, I bet Mark would be happy to answer.
And Commissioner Stevens.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Thanks, Mark. So have you seen an increase of people coming into your office because of the new work requirements with HR 1? And are those work requirements in place already for SNAP and Medicaid?
I'd say it's steady. We haven't seen a surge yet. I think those are incoming. Heather O'Hare would be the best person to talk about that deadline or that phasing deadline. But I believe there's one coming up here in the next quarter and then next year. So what we're really doing, if I may, is getting in the community with our Colorado State University partners, our Front Range Community College partners, UNC, et cetera. There are students who need field experience. And what better place to cut your teeth in field experience than in this particular work? So how can we establish a work-based learning model where we host these students to help with the staffing surge, but still give the student a really good experience that then they can leverage and use, all while preparing for how we meet the demand.
Yeah, I love that idea. But you are expecting a surge because those requirements will require a lot of people to be in the workforce that weren't necessarily in the workforce before.
Absolutely.
Whether because of age or having children or other, okay.
That is absolutely projected, yes.
Yeah, please keep us posted on that and how we can be supportive in that space because, helping those folks find jobs is going to be really crucial for them to keep those really important benefits that they need to survive, honestly. So thank you.
So with the surge, I hear maybe the need for increased capacity. Do we have technology or AI tools in our phenomenal, wonderful IT team? Is there going to be a need? Is just thinking ahead. I'm just wondering how we've been focused so much on human services and then maybe the capacity needs there. And I hadn't really thought about maybe what your office, who's been doing phenomenal work, by the way, what do you think about that? I'm just wondering, what does that look like? Not that we have really budgets for expanding things at all, but we want to be able to help people. So I'm curious.
Yeah, the AI question's a great one. County rolled out a policy. Gosh, Mark, it feels like within the last couple of years, we've embraced that policy. What we've also done in economic and workforce development is worked with some outside consultants to come in and do some staff training, in particular around how do you utilize AI most effectively for modern job search. We've also launched our Connecting Colorado job search platform, which has elements of artificial intelligence built in, all trying to, at the end of the day, create a more efficient service delivery system. So it is on our mind. The culture of the department, it's welcomed for our staff within the county policy to play. And what I mean by play is really investigate, be creative, learn about ahas, and then share that across. Sometimes you don't know, or your peer doesn't know something that you've come across that could be really valuable.
And I'm wondering about, as we go along, and I think Commissioner Stevens, she's been involved with a lot of this work, but we've all been thinking about this. We're in some really dynamic transitional times of trying to figure out how this all works, since it's kind of adding us. And so I'm wondering about innovations or partnerships across, you guys do such a great job working across departments and jurisdictions, both IT helping, human services helping you. So I'm wondering, that you already do this, but if things come up that you think, oh, maybe we should look at changing this or changing that, I'm assuming that is something you will all be kind of being flexible, or I wouldn't say nimble, but able to maybe be a little flexible to try to figure out how we can we are a fantastic stewards of, in my opinion, of the taxpayer money, but also how we're going to be able to fight efforts to make sure we can serve these folks, because it is kind of a condition or a new time that we're not sure how this is all going to play out, as you said, as you use the word play. And I see
Yeah.
Lori Cadrich is coming up to come up, and I'm sorry, Lori, am I asking too complicated a question, or is this okay to ask?
No, it's all good. I just had some information that Mark might not be aware of that might be helpful with the questioning that
Can you
you're
introduce
talking
yourself?
Yes, thank you. I'm Lori Cadrich, and I'm the Assistant County Manager. And one of the things that we're looking at is that Heather O'Hare has been doing training for our service area on House Bill 1. And so we've been cross-training each of those departments to find out how we can maximize job searches, volunteerism, information out into the community to help people who are not going to, may or may not have benefits moving forward. In addition to that, she and her team are leading a coalition of nonprofit and affected agencies that might be able to help in this space as well. And they've had their first organizational meeting. So we're trying to put together all the resources that we have currently and then figure out, do we have gaps? So will we need something more in workforce development? Can the nonprofit sector pick that up? Or do we have to come and speak to the commissioners about that? And then in the nonprofit sector as well, where are the gaps? And how can we bring related agencies together to address some of these needs? And I think we're probably in our infancy in terms of getting the word out, but we had a very good response to the first training and sessions.
I'm really excited and heartened to hear that. Thank you for bringing that up. Commissioner Kafas, I see your hand is raised.
Yes, thank you. In response to Commissioner Stevens' inquiry, it is my understanding that the new work requirements for SNAP beneficiaries take effect September 1 of this year, and for Medicaid, it's January 1st of 2027.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And so I think with regard to SNAP, people are already maybe we'll see the surge in August. But I think my understanding furthermore is that departments need to inform people August, September about the Medicaid work requirement changes that take effect in January of next year. I mean, we can fact check that with Heather, but that's my understanding.
That's my understanding as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Lori. That's great news. That's kind of the things I was thinking about is, how the gaps and what might develop that we weren't gaps were there before, but all of a sudden emerge. And so I appreciate you bringing that information. Commissioner Stevens, did you have any other questions or comments? Okay. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Mark.
So finally, for this goal, Objective 3 is around improving housing stability. Both of these sub-objectives are, one is operational and one is actually being combined with one we've already discussed. This sub-objective around inventorying, defining best practices for reentry for justice-involved residents. We talked about the SIM mapping sub-objective earlier, and so because that team is going to continue on implementing strategies to fill some of those gaps in housing, we're basically just going to combine this with that sub-objective. And then the other one, participating in the Homeward Alliance strategic plan to address homelessness. That plan is complete. It's now being worked and operationalized, and the county is participating in that as well. So that's basically complete for this purpose.
Fantastic.
And finally, under Objective 3 here, coordinating regionally on land use, they did complete a housing resource guide, and so that deliverable is complete, and so this sub-objective is complete. So finally, Goal 1, resilient, equitable, and engaged community. The first objective, communicating with the public, we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, informing our internal and external partners and the public about things that have been accomplished both with this strategic plan and prior plans. There is a draft website that has been created. They kind of felt like they needed more visual content for that before releasing it, and so they're collecting that as well. They have a contract with a videographer to create 3 initial videos for that website in phases, and they hope to have 6 videos completed by the end of the year. And so hopefully when we meet again in January on this, there will be some videos to show off related to this objective.
And I'm just curious, are we doing that internally, and is there like a plan or a campaign to kind of share that not only with the public, but maybe with our municipal partners or other people, and what does that look like?
Yeah, so it's part of what they're calling the mile markers and momentum, and so there will be a campaign both to, I think, some printed materials and then this website as well that can be shared on social media and things like that to really show and identify what was done with the strategic plan. With that little logo you see up in the corner, they'll have different colors and things like that related to each goal. And so, having those materials completed first and then the plan to disseminate them will be a deliverable.
And we had thought about, we had talked about, I was really excited about this program, and I was wondering about like having I think I mentioned maybe a logo or a sticker to put on businesses or partners' doors. As they walk in, I don't remember if everyone talked about this, and Michelle seemed like the idea, but like during COVID, you had the pictures of NOCO open. I thought this might also be another opportunity to put a big, walk in. I was having a quick taco with some electeds and watching all the nonprofit partners come and just tape all of their events on the entrance of the door, and they didn't have to even ask. I guess they have longstanding permissions for that. I just thought that would be really cool to have this very nice-looking logo just on the front door. Hey, we partner even with workforce development or, somehow. I'm curious about if that was ever considered, so.
I remember the discussion about that in this particular objective. I think that is possibly an option. We can perhaps ask Michelle that in January, so.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks. I just, I don't know, I'm just super proud of all the things we do and who we partner with, and I think they would be proud to partner with us too. So I'm just, I don't know, it might spark questions. So what is that? What does that mean? So that's cool. Thank you.
Sure. So objective 2 is improving accessibility to the county. The first sub-objective is improving engagement with the community through a single platform. You may remember this will be quite a heavy lift to do. We anticipate it may take into the next strategic plan as well, just because of the breadth of what might be required. Mackenzie Lowe is our objective team leader for this, and she indicates that they've had initial discussions on what this might look like, but this is an item that will take quite some time to be implemented. We can say with 2B, evaluating legacy systems to ensure compliance with accessibility laws. There will be software implemented in August to help make documents more accessible. The software is called Doc Access, and they will be demoing it for users at digital accessibility cafes, which are I think it's a monthly over during lunch. Users of these software or documents that need to be made more accessible, gather and talk about the tools that can be used. So they'll be demoing that basically for those power users here shortly.
I want to ask a quick question. I love it when I learn something new every day. And I learned something new of a new app or tool because I said, hey, I need to meet with you and give you some documents. I'd like you to look at this county, folder on backward, I don't know, just backyard tours, just, it doesn't matter where they were. But they're like, I can't meet with you today, but I really need to get them so I have a presentation, I want to share them. And I learned real quick about this accessibility tool. It's like, you can use your picture on your phone to make them into the pictures into PDF documents and then send them to that person so they could print them out and make their own packet. And I didn't know if this was something that we also use for maybe folks that are trying to quickly, I don't know if we've looked at that, if that's something like everyone has a phone, and if maybe they're out and about and they need to learn how to send a resume instead of, if they can't, sometimes when I have an email, I'm always trying to link or something.
Yep.
This would be something that seemed really quick. And it seems like a lot of them are free apps, so I'm sure they're selling your data somehow, but I hate to say that, but, so I'm just curious about that, and that's also, if that's something maybe our IT department I didn't use my county phone, I used my personal phone, but is it a IT thing, of an AI thing that we need to have, as I'm sure, what kind of cybersecurity things, because I immediately, deleted all the documents immediately. I mean, they're public documents, but I just deleted it anyway because I just thought, well, maybe I should research this.
Okay.
But I had to send it quickly, and I'm wondering about that.
Yeah, I don't know if we've explored apps or anything that can do that, but I can follow up with Mackenzie and ask her.
I'm just curious. I'm just thinking, with everything and we talked about apps and technology trying to help things and help people with all this stuff, I thought maybe they're somewhere and they can't get home to get their computer to download. Maybe that's, I don't know, just curious.
Okay, yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, you bet. The training, foundational training for compliance with this has been created and is up on the B board now for employees. They also hope to identify what are called digital accessibility liaisons, individuals in each department who are kind of experts who can help with departmental issues related to this, help staff. They hope to identify those by the end of the year. And then this is a holdover from the last presentation, but the federal digital compliance due date has been extended to April of next year. Any other questions about that?
Nope.
All right. So finally, Goal 1, Objective 3, maximizing partner relationships. These are largely complete except for 3A. I think the team is kind of evaluating the next steps for this, have met with some members of the committee to see how to go forward. You may remember that one of the main objectives or outcomes of this was to look at the NOCO Foundation's intersections report. That NOCO Foundation has kind of gone to focus on housing, I think it is in particular, and so there's not as much of a role, we think, for this team to build off of that. And so basically, we're gonna consider how to move forward with this. There were several other sub-objectives underneath this, including connecting the local nonprofit sector in the county to align on to support legislative priorities and foster civic engagement. You might remember we created training for our nonprofit partners on how to engage at the state to help advocate for their issues and things like that. Increasing data sharing and coordination with partners in law enforcement. The LINK project is operational. I don't remember what LINK stands for, but it's basically a software program where providers and law enforcement can share information where individuals who have behavioral health issues who opt into the service basically can help make everyone aware of the treatment that they've received, the issues that they're dealing with, so that just the whole law enforcement and service providers can be prepared for that. SIM mapping, as we mentioned, this kind of crosses a lot of different lines, but really kind of fits with this. That's occurring in Goal 1, Objective 1. Actually, that should be Goal 2, Objective 1, sorry about that. But otherwise, this sub-objective is complete and operationalized. Third, expanding the co-response model. Unfortunately, this sub-objective is no longer active. Enhancing public awareness of the co-response model because it's no longer active, so then is this one. 3F, increasing the awareness of the Behavioral Health Impact Fund. You may remember Behavioral Health took the lead on this, especially in developing their multi-year grant funding strategy. And so this sub-objective is complete and operationalized. And finally, 3G, implementing that multi-year funding initiative to address priority behavioral health needs. Behavioral health has completed this, as I just mentioned, and so that is operationalized as well. So any questions about this particular objective?
Commissioner Foss, any questions? So when you talk about 3G, and they have taken the lead on the implementation of the multi-year funding, and that has taken the lead, there's still some other new projects that we have given direction as commissioners for them to undertake. And so I'm wondering, is that, and maybe Lori or Lorena can answer, when I'm talking about the platform and stuff, where does that fit in all of this? Is that another goal, a separate goal just with behavioral health services, or is this kind of in tangent?
Thank you, Commissioner. Again, Lori Cadridge. We didn't try to put all the existing goals that our internal departments were doing on this goal, but you might remember, in fact, you mentioned it earlier in the work session, that when we held the community meeting, there were a number of members of the community that were uncertain or totally unsure of programs we were already doing. And so part of this goal was to combine new things with things that we were already doing and try to get the message out to the community, make people more aware, talk to even our internal teams about how do we get the word out more because people don't know what you're doing in this particular area. And so this was the one that we focused on, was the multi-year funding. And the other areas that you've given direction on are being done by the department itself.
Okay, that's really helpful. Thank you. There is a lot going on. We can't, it would be great to tell everything we're doing, but there's so much happening. So I appreciate that answer. Thank you, Lori. Okay.
So that is the end of the updates on the objectives and sub-objectives. In preparing for this, we have updated all of the progress dashboards, so they are available on the county's strategic plan website, which is there in length. But basically, if you go to larimer.gov/strategic plan, you should also be able to see this. Our next work session will be in January of 2027. We talked, as you might remember, we talked last quarter, because so many of these are now pretty much done. We're going to basically do them twice per year, so we'll get an update on the third and fourth quarter in January. And so initial work is beginning on the 2033 plan, and by that mean, I'm basically starting to create some lessons learned, trying to think of some ways, like we talked about, to get this out to more people beforehand, and really just start to think about how to develop objectives and sub-objectives in the future. So just some preliminary thinking and talking about how this might be improved next time. So with that, that's the end of the presentation, and happy to answer any questions.
I had a couple questions. Commissioner Falls, go ahead.
Thank you. Just one question and then appreciation. And the website you just cited, is that how we would access what's operational or gone live with the performance data dashboard?
Yeah, and actually,
So if we go to that, we'll
I can
get to
even-
that? Is that what comes up, Josh?
yeah. So if you go to, where do I want to go? Assuming I can spell it. So if you go to larimer.gov/strategic plan, it will take you to this. And so you can basically just get an overview. Each tab has one goal on it with each of the objectives and sub-objectives. Each objective has its own progress dashboard, which is on a different platform than what Julie provided before. But it'll basically show the steps that have been taken, the deliverables that have been completed. It sometimes takes a while to load too. So here you see basically all the steps and things like that that have been done thus far. So there's one of these for each objective. And then, so we also, as we saw in the presentation where there was a target saying it's complete, we have it here on the website saying that it's complete. And then we put a link to all of these meetings off the county's YouTube channel so that people can watch if they missed it. And then we also have this part here, which will, I think, hopefully be absorbed. Well, it'll be in concert with the effort that Michelle Bird's team is undertaking specific to the strategic plan. But we wanted to show, what else is Larimer County doing? And so we put links to all those other plans, efforts, special projects for which maybe there's a county website or a report or what have you. So always happy to add these if we're missing anything, but this is kind of where people can see what's going on.
And Julie's data dashboard is where?
So the one that she previewed,
Still
it's
not-
not public yet
Okay.
because that was kind of a draft version. So that will actually go, the PBS website has a page for performance measures. And right now, what's there is what you see at your quarterly performance measure work sessions. So over time, what Julie showed will replace what's there.
Thank you. And I think this is great, what you just showed us, because it has a lot of this information, sort of one-stop shop. Otherwise, it's kind of hard to navigate the website and figure out where the water master plan is or where this is. So I think this is a great idea. Kudos.
Cool. Thank you.
Then my appreciation is to you and your performance budget and strategy team, and certainly the service area directors that are with us, internal support services, community justice alternatives, economic and workforce development director, Lori. So thanks to all of you. And this is a pretty monumental task, and I think it's moving us really well forward in terms of telling our story better. That's been an issue that we've tried to get better at, and I think we do have many good stories to tell. So well done, everyone. Gosh.
Definitely. And thank you. And I agree. Thanks to all the hard work by everybody behind me and who aren't here today.
That's all I got.
So I want to go back to or you don't have to, I'm just going to ask the question. You talk about initial work being done already for 2029 and 23, and you're mostly saying your kind of lessons learned. And, kind of, I thought, as I brought up earlier, one of those lessons learned was we need to tell our own story, and I see that happening. But if you're preparing those, I don't know, I'm envisioning that we send out a packet, or sending out links like this to invite community leaders, but give them like a homework to do to then come to another session? Are we thinking about maybe doing that again, inviting folks to come and bring that community voice? And I know so that's first question. And then we've had some community members with subject matter expertise embedded or not embedded, but on some of these objective teams to provide that. Is that another lesson learned? Has that been something we've overall felt was helpful, or something we might continue or not continue?
Yeah.
I'm curious about those two questions.
I would say, with regard to the last one, it was helpful when it occurred. I think unfortunately, over the course of a couple of years, people's schedules get busy. Some people left, their employment, and so they're no longer here. The participation in some teams fell off a little bit. I will say in other areas, like especially the natural environment objective that Megan Flanagan is working on, those were plans or existing projects that were already kind of in process. And so they did have a lot of public participation, like talking about forest health and the natural resources master plan. I mean, that was part of that effort, and so that really was valuable. It wasn't necessarily me finding those volunteers, it was Megan doing the work that Megan does. So it was varied. I think we'll definitely try to get more public participation in the next version. Always happy to have it. And then to your first question, actually I've been thinking almost exactly that, of perhaps, going to our municipalities and just reporting on this. During one of their council meetings, I've have an appointment to go to the Jedi Coalition meeting in October to start just gathering ideas and just talking. And I would like to go visit other organizations as well. And I can start doing that initially, and then as those materials get created through Goal 1, Objective 1, once they're available, then sharing it with those people that we've met. So really starting to network and talk to people. And one of the lessons learned is coming up, I think, with maybe a little bit tighter language on objectives in some cases. We try to be vague to give objective teams the room to develop those deliverables. I think that worked in most cases, but sometimes, it could have changed a little bit. So that's the initial work, or at least thinking that we've started.
And then another comment I'd just like to make is, when I think about 2029, there is a lot happening politically, and we'll have a new governor, we'll have all kinds of things, and we're not sure how the landscape will change. And I'm curious, we're not getting too far ahead of ourselves. We're also, you're just talking about processes and things like that. Would that be fair to say?
Yep. And one thing we tried to do with this plan, maybe a little more than in prior years, is really to judge how much capacity is available to do these things.
Yeah.
We did that a lot at the beginning, and we'll do that again. I mean, there might be great ideas that would be wonderful to get done, but if we don't have the capacity to do it, we'll report on that as we start to develop the new plan.
All right. Well,
May I
yeah,
add one
please.
thing?
Yeah,
I
please
want to
go
give
ahead.
Josh some kudos here, especially because not only is work getting completed and getting reported on to you, but he's already thinking about engagement as we go forward. And he's exactly right. You don't engage in one giant summit one time every few years. You engage by showing real interest over years and creating that trust in that relationship. And I think we've talked about, should we begin engagement early? What does engagement look like? And honestly, engagement should never end, to Josh's point. And so I think rather than try to engage in a new development of a new strategic plan, because we're completing a lot of these objectives and sub-objectives, rather develop the relationship so that we are ready to go and the trust is there, and the issues have already largely bubbled up over time, sort of naturally. We may still have a big event where we talk about what they are and what has bubbled up over the last year and how do we prioritize those, but it won't be the one touch point that we have done in the past. So thank you to Josh for that initiative. It'll take time, and I appreciate the effort.
Thank you, Lauren. I was actually getting you to go to you, so you were ready. So I just wanted to add to what you said. I think, I always talk about planting seeds. You're starting out relationships, and our former county manager always say, "Can't make friends when you need them," but we need friends year round. And I think that's what I call the Larimer way. We're always working together on something and building that resiliency and building those relationships, because building trust takes a long time, and And it's showing up maybe when no one asks you, but just because you want to show that you want to support. It may not be really a priority for you, but you will support that partner. And we do that as county commissioners, or at least I try to, may not be really impactful for my county, but not a detriment, but I try to show up for a smaller county to make sure they have another voice. And so I just want to say, I feel like we planted a lot of seeds in this garden. We're nurturing the garden, and it's going to take a lot of nurturing and watering and weeding and bringing more, adding gardeners and bring more gardeners, bring more people to harvest. I don't know, all the things. But I think that already just what has been accomplished, I mean, how many things of these were complete, right? It's just really, really exciting to see that we're taking some of those ideas and some of those processes and always innovating and trying to do better. And that's just part of our guiding principles, which we moved this side, there it is. We moved our things around the room here today. So I just want to say well done. Thank you to all the folks in the room, all the directors, everyone that's been spoke up or been mentioned. This is all above and beyond work of duties as assigned. I always want to remind folks this is really not, this is above and beyond what they do, just the regular duties. And so I think that commitment and passion and purpose to always trying to be the best we can be as Larimer County to serve our residents the best we can, I think is just, I see that in every staff member, employee. It's just so heartening and so exciting and just really makes me proud. So well done. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to everyone, every single staff member or community member has been on any of these objective teams. Thank you for the work, and Emily and Mark and Lori and Josh, everyone, just amazing things. And just want to say, I can't, and Julie too. Julie's been doing a lot of the data and making the website. Julie's not here, so she's out of sight, out of mind. Don't want to forget Julie, because that's really important, just having a data story too. So I just want to say, well done, super exciting. And so at 2:47, thank you everyone for joining us. We are adjourned.